America has been run by one group for 40 years, and it has destroyed the country. Historian David Priestland argues that every society is shaped by four competing castes: merchants, soldiers, sages, and workers. Nations are stable and prosperous when they are in balance. They fall apart when they're out of balance. Since Reagan, America has been a merchant dominant economy, a merchant dominant nation, and not the productive merchants like builders, manufacturers, and inventors, but the financial merchants, not making things, but making money from money, not producing anything. This results in healthcare for profit, not patients, housing for investment, not living, education for interest on debt, not education, and the list goes on. Everything in American life now runs through the merchant perspective. Is it profitable? That's an imbalance, and anything out of balance falls. And the US failed in 2008, the financial crisis. But what's incredible about this is it learned nothing from it and kept the merchant caste dominance. So we know it will fail again. The Republican Party works to keep the US a merchant caste. The Democrats work to make it more balanced. That's why it looks like left versus right, but it's really about balance. Join us for more cultural perspectives at culturalperspective.com.
Hey, YouTube fam, welcome back to Global Info with T, where we sip the tea, flip the script, and question the narrative. Now let's get into it. Red versus blue, Democrats versus Republican, lefts versus right. Because apparently in America, you're supposed to pick a jersey and never take it off. Ever. No returns, no exchange, no independent thought allowed. But today, we are going beyond the color war to talk about something that makes the internet malfunction: the Black MAGA and the values driving it. Yes.
Let's talk about political violence and how it looks different depending on the side. When a black man named George Floyd was killed, the left responded with fire. Minneapolis burned, and over 1,500 buildings were damaged. Dozens of people died in the unrest nationwide. In Kenosha, Wisconsin, stores were looted, businesses destroyed. In Portland, riots for over 100 nights straight, and people said it was about justice. But violence is still violence. Looting isn't protesting, and burning your neighbor's store doesn't bring somebody back. Now compare that to when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, a Christian conservative figure gone. What did Republicans do? They gathered, prayed, mourned peacefully, held church vigils. No cities burned, no stores were looted. But let's be clear, that doesn't make conservatives blameless. January 6th was a disgrace. People broke into the Capitol, and yeah, most conservatives did condemn it, but it still happened. There's also another kind of violence. Not physical, but still powerful. Conservatives often mock the left, and I'm guilty of that, so I apologize. We call them names, mock them, call them too emotional. It pokes at people's identities and their passions. Is that violent? No, not physically, but it is provoking, and it escalates tension. So yeah, Democrats riot in the streets, Republicans riot with their words. One lights fires, and the other throws sparks. Either way, things burn. And until we stop defending our sides and start holding everyone accountable, nothing changes.
He was hateful, though. Just because he's talking calmly doesn't mean it's not hate. Okay, this is a huge disconnect between the right and the left. I'm going to explain it. Once you get this disconnect, once you understand it, every single political difference is going to make sense. Every single issue is going to make sense. It all boils down to one thing. The question is, how can the left think the right is hateful while the right thinks the left is hateful? How can I think Charlie Kirk was the least hateful political influencer, and this person thinks Charlie's one of the most hateful ones? It's because people on the right base their opinions and actions on what they believe to be true, regardless of how it makes other people feel. Emotions do not matter. Emotions get in the way of objective truths. Truth is more important than personal feelings. People on the left base their opinions and actions on how it makes people feel. They base it on their emotions. If it makes them feel angry or sad, it's probably bad. If it makes them feel warm and happy, it's probably good. So when someone like Charlie Kirk shares an uncomfortable opinion, people like me hear it and think, wow, that guy's brave, he's admirable, he's trying to reach the truth regardless of what other people think. But liberals hear that and think, This person is making other people sad, so he must be hateful. Because that's how they work. If a liberal were sharing an uncomfortable opinion, it's probably because they hate the thing they're talking about. When you have conservatives say something like, we need to deport illegal aliens, liberals hear that and think, oh, you must hate illegal aliens. And that's because that's how their own decision-making process works. It's whether or not they love or hate something. Conservatives aren't guided by emotions that way. And you'll find this applies with almost every issue. Liberals are emotions-driven, conservatives are truth-driven. That's the major difference. And liberals assume that if a conservative has an uncomfortable opinion, it's because they're hating. Because that's how their mind works.
After the drop of the Epstein files, some of you are still arguing about Democrat versus Republican. And which side is better? Left wing or right wing? Have we not tried to tell you that it is the same bird, the same operation? The government has been lying to you for your entire life and you still believe them. You still believe your government will save you. If all of our foreign enemies, and believe we have a lot of enemies, were to ally and invade America and it looked like our country were to be overtaken, do you know what your favorite politicians would do? They would all get in their private jets and flee somewhere safe. They would abandon you. And some of you will still be wondering where the government is and why they aren't saving you. Politicians are all liars. Politics is the business of lying. That's all they're good at. If we don't overtake our government now, we may not have another chance. The time is now.
Hypocrisy is real. This is the difference between the political parties and how people respond. Charlie Kirk was horrifically assassinated September 10th, 2025, just sitting there and having a debate with the microphone, just talking, having a healthy debate, and he was banged in his neck, point blank, cold murder, live for everyone to see. The left's response? He was racist and deserved it, mocking it, celebrating it, and condemning everyone that supported Charlie Kirk, that was praying for Charlie Kirk, and for the ones that were getting closer to God. Meanwhile, when that happened, we did not see any protests from the right. We did not see any name-calling from the right. We saw a mass, overwhelming abundance of people coming to Christ, coming to know the Lord, praying together, and not protesting or rioting. Now let's compare that to what's going on in Minnesota, shall we? We're seeing multiple angles, minute by minute, from many different viewpoints, many different cameras, of the incident that happened between ICE and the protester that was also unfortunately lost her life. And we see the angles from 5 to 10 minutes before, and we see it after. And we see what she was doing prior to and after. The Democratic leaders, before they see any footage, condemn the right. Condemn ICE. Say it's all his fault without seeing the evidence. The left starts protesting. The left doesn't follow or listen to authority, not the police, not the ICE. Now they're rioting, not protesting, rioting ICE. The left is very much about freedom of speech. But if the right says something the left doesn't agree with, then they're going to make sure they threaten your life, threaten your family's life, because that's happened to me, and call you every name in the book. There was a No Kings protest while Trump's in office. Then they protested for a dictator, Maduro, for Venezuela, to be released, who actually acted like a king. The left states that ICE officer was in the wrong, even though he got hit by a vehicle, and that's why he responded the way he did. Not to mention 6 months prior to, he got dragged by a car at another ICE protest. But you guys are protesting, the left was protesting for Maduro to be released, when you can see footage where if you went and had a peaceful protest and he didn't like it, he'd run over you. The but y'all are protesting to have him released. Nick Shirley, a conservative YouTuber, finds all this fraud from the Somalians in Minnesota, which should piss every American off, especially if you pay taxes. Yet the left says that the right is being racist, and Nick Shirley is now fascist and a racist. The left doesn't like any of the immigration laws that Trump has put into effect. Yet, if you look at the Obama and Clinton administration, they actually said the same thing, and y'all were okay with it. Laken Riley was brutally unalived from a Venezuelan illegal immigrant. The right did not protest, but the leaders of the right made sure that this illegal immigrant was taken out of here. Yet the left protested that. When an innocent 25-year-old woman born and raised in America was brutally murdered. It doesn't make sense to me. Again, freedom of speech, you're all about that in the left, but then the right that says something y'all don't agree with, then we're bad people. I can be a life coach in training and still have an opinion, whether you like me or not. I can be a Christian and believe in good. I don't believe anyone should ever be unalived. But I'm telling you right now, if someone came and ran into me with a car and I had that and I was Ice Age, I'd probably do the same thing. Most Americans are upset that there's billions of fraud when we taxpayers are paying millions of thousands of dollars. My point is, hypocrisy is real between the two different parties. And I'm not even saying don't protest. Protest, but be respectful. Not riot, not doing what this chick did in Minnesota. Protest for good and for America, not for fraudulent activity and for illegal immigrants to do like what happened to Laken Riley. Be consistent across the board, because otherwise we're just creating chaos. And now, Minnesota, you're literally trying to burn down your own city. Keep on. We're going to have martial law in effect.
If you live in America and you call yourself a centrist, you are actually conservative. And you may not know this either, but if you are a Democrat, you're really in the center, because Democrats in America are not a left-wing party. They are situated in the center of the political spectrum, and that is based on world politics. I got this graphic from an article titled "The Lopsided U.S. Political Spectrum: Why There Are No Centrists in America," and I just thought this was a really, really helpful graphic. Healthcare for all, free education, preschool through college, and combating climate change are at the center of the political spectrum. And if you don't believe me, look at any other developed country in the world. For the average American, I would just want you to think of Europe. I think you probably know the most about Europe. They all have free healthcare. They all have free college. They all have paid time off, sick time, and paid parental leave. Here, we have none of that. The standard in the entire world is here at the center. In America, we tend to think that Democrats are on the left and the GOP is on the right. But truly, compared to the rest of the world, Democrats are in the center. Centrists are just like normal conservatives, and the GOP, they represent the extreme far right. Because of these policies that I'm talking about, you will recognize politicians like Bernie Sanders, like AOC, like Zohran Mamdani. The things that they are proposing are very center, very basic policies that other countries just have. So knowing this, where would you put yourself on the spectrum? Because I think a lot of you talking about liking Gavin Newsom and Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris, you guys are actually like tending towards the right.
So they fuck them, they eat them, and they fuck them even more. And then you have right and left fighting each other. And y'all keep voting for these type of people. Not a day in my life. No. Fuck no. Yep. I've been trying to tell people this shit for years. If y'all not seen the movie The Hunt, it was made in 2019. You should go watch it. It's literally people being rounded up and taken out into the woods and hunted for sport by rich people. Yep. You know, if nothing else, I hope that this opens people's eyes to understand that it's never been right versus left. It's always been them versus us. People who don't fucking eat people. Literally. Love of all is holy, I can't.
Who's more violent, the left or the right?
I believe that the left, who is now aligning themselves with a globalistic idea, the far left, which is made up of many different organizations, and the truth is coming out on them. The ones that are actually burning down the cities and beating up people. I mean, I got assaulted a couple of weeks ago. I didn't even have anything on me, but a woman was talking about Donald Trump, and I got attacked because she was talking to me about it. And it just, I've never in my life experienced that in the 63 years of my universe. I believe that the only way that this country is going to come back is if we get a little moral clarity, all right? And I'm not saying Donald Trump is the perfect man. He's not. Nobody is perfect. But man, he speaks clearly for the American citizen, which is the most important in my...
Values, not just vibes. So what are we actually hearing from this group? First up, economic self-determination. Many Black MAGA supporters emphasize entrepreneurship, tax policy, deregulation, and small business growth. The message, empower me to build, don't just promise programs. For some, it's less about party loyalty and more about opportunity frameworks. Secondly, law and order. Now, before the comment section explodes, the conversation here centers on community safety. Some argue that stable neighborhoods, policy reform with structure, and tough on crime policies protect working class families. Their stance, security equals stability. Thirdly, faith and traditional values. Church-based communities remain deeply influential in many Black neighborhoods. So conversations around religious freedom, family structure, cultural conservatism resonate more than people assume. And then there is the big one. Independence from political expectation. A recurring theme is frustration with being politically predictable. Some supporters say that they don't want automatic alignment based on race. They want ideological alignment based on their belief. Now, critics argue that the broader MAGA movement hasn't always centered racial equity concerns. Supporters respond that policy outcomes, economic data, and border security matter more than rhetoric. Translation: this isn't just red versus blue. It's about identity, autonomy, and redefining political belonging. And here's the twist nobody likes to admit. Black political thought has always been diverse, from conservatives to progressive to independent. It just doesn't trend on social media. So is Black MAGA a growing idea lane? A reaction to shifting democratic priorities? A cultural countercurrent? Or a simply reminder that voters refuse to fit in the neat little boxes? When people start prioritizing principles over party labels, the political playbook gets uncomfortable. All right, global family, let's open this up. Are shared values more powerful than party lines? Is this movement misunderstood or strategically magnified? And are we witnessing a redefinition? And are we witnessing a redefinition of political identity in real time? Drop your thoughts below respectfully. This is Global Info with T, where we challenge narratives and leave the room for complexity. Please subscribe, and credit to everyone whose video will be used for this analysis. You're doing a great job out there. Thank you for doing what you do. And lastly, remember, like, subscribe, and share, because thinking critically, that's bipartisan. Subscribe to our channel. Thank you.